Oh, hey, Emery, what's up?
Hey, Paul. I was working on the stuff for the DraftKings promo. What's the promo code again?
Oh, man, it's so exciting. You bet $5 right now. You get $200 in bonus bets. It's the last week of the NFL season, so it's the last time to get your football bets in. For Super Bowl 58, you can use your bets on a lot of things, tagging together multiple bets. And if you're in a state that doesn't have the DraftKings Sportsbook app, you can still play DraftKings Daily Fantasy and win tons of prizes. It's just silly. It's crazy. I don't even know what's going on here with you, Emery. Like, you should be on top of these things. You are usually the best at this. I don't even know.
Just tell me what the promo code is. If I think about it, will it pop up on screen? Oh man, it worked. There it is. 365 Sports. What else can I do? Give me your sandwich.
Super Bowl 58, NFL Media Headquarters, Radio Row inside the Mandalay Bay. David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Bill Miller, American Gaming Association. Is there an event that has more on it as far as gambling than the one this week?
I don't know enough about World Cup, but I would say that, it's probably the only thing that's even remotely close. This is this is it. This is the big enchilada for American sports. I was in London yesterday, and you're getting close to Premier League titles and all the rest of that stuff. But it's kind of funny when you get on the airplane in London and you see the map and you're leaving, how little the UK is, right? America, 330 million people, sports obsessed in a bunch of different ways. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing that compares to the Super Bowl. March Madness is close. And again, I don't exactly know what the World Cup looks like on a global basis, but in terms of sports fans, sports interest in and around football particularly, nothing at all like it.
So we are at a crossroads in the country where sports gaming is becoming legal in states.
Yep.
More and more and more. I was just actually in Kansas City. It's legal in Kansas. It's not in Missouri. Walking around, the guy tried to get me to sign a petition, and I was like, buddy, I would, but not going to help you here. I don't live here. So, but it is changing. What needs to happen so that we can get sports gaming in more places? And I know that, obviously regulation and different things have to come down unified from the federal government, but what do you think are the next steps to kind of tearing down some of the walls?
Well, excellent question. Really interesting to see where we've gotten. Mm-hmm. For a long time, the only place in America where you could legally bet on sports was here in Nevada.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so, Governor Chris Christie, when he was the governor of New Jersey, he said, that's BS. We should be able to bet on sports. There is nothing in the Constitution that says that one state should have the monopoly on a business, and i.e. sports business. Sports betting's a business. And so he took this case to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court agreed and said there's absolutely no reason for this. And so what happened was the court said, we're not going to say the federal government should go fix this. They said, states, you all decide what you want in terms of sports betting. So look, there's states like Utah that'll probably never have. Utah doesn't have a lottery. They don't have any casinos. It's culturally not what their thing is. And so that's up to the policymakers, the stakeholders in the state to make those determinations. But man, I've been in government, advising government, lobbying government, doing politics almost my entire life. I've never seen anything move as quick from Supreme Court saying, Nevada should not have a monopoly on this, to 38 states plus the District of Columbia in less than 5 years. It's a remarkable move. Now, we still have some states, big ones too, Texas. California haven't figured it out, and Georgia. So there's still some, but to think about where we've come in 5 years is amazing.
What does it mean that Vegas, where the NFL was verboten gambling and all that, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we can get a piece of that too. But what does it mean that Las Vegas, what does it mean to Vegas and to you and what you do that Vegas is hosting this game?
Well, I think it's a great validator to America and the world that the gaming industry is mainstream adult entertainment. And I think that there was a very long time when leagues, not just the NFL, but others said, you know, this gambling thing, we don't want it to touch anything in our sports because we are worried about integrity. And our argument was, look, you should of course be worried about integrity, always about the game, but the scandals that had happened from the Black Sox scandals in the 1910s to the Boston College or other, they all happened in the illegal market. And so by legalizing gambling on and betting on sports, what you're doing is you're bringing it into the light of day. You're putting it under a licensed structure with regulators and law enforcement so that you can be able to have better insight into, I don't know, anomalous activity, you know. And, you know, there was this, you know, pretty prominent situation not too long ago where Alabama baseball coach, you know, he threw another guy, bet against his own team because he knew that his starting pitcher, who was a ace pitcher, wasn't going to pitch. And so, you know, it was the integrity systems that monitor betting activity that flagged it for the operators, that then flagged it for law enforcement, which then flagged it for the NCAA, who then said, okay, this is BS. This is a Tuesday SEC game between Alabama and LSU, and there is no reason that there should be this much money on it. The legal market sussed that out. And so that is an incredible advancement. And so Adam Silver did it. You know, he really was quite helpful. I mean, he wrote an op-ed in the New York Times, I think it was in 2014 or 2015, and said, sports betting should be made legal because we want the transparency. We who run leagues should have better transparency. And so for people that live here, people that you know, that call Las Vegas home and call Nevada home, and that the gaming industry is now generations of people that have been in the business, this is a great validating moment for us. I mean, we have the, you know, Las Vegas, we've got the Golden Knights, we've got now the Raiders, and
about to have the A's.
And about to, maybe. I mean,
yeah, no.
You know, we go back, you know, it goes back and forth, but I would say, you know, better, more likely than not.
You mentioned the integrity part of it there.
Yep.
Also, I think the argument that, like, I think that the people who are against it were seeing that were like, oh, well, you know, there's going to be the Black Sox scandal again, and all this was, it benefits legitimate sports books to have the sunlight on them, because if they don't have transparency, if they don't have this, then they're not going to make, you know, they're not going to go very far before the government gets involved in them. So it's mutually beneficial on both sides to have everything in the sunlight.
Look, Paul, we are, if not the most regulated industry, you know, it's us and banking. You know, there are very few. I mean, the due diligence that you have to go through to get licensed in a particular state is remarkable. And it's for good reason. You know, they want to make sure that they have good operators in these states. And then for us, once you get a license, and then we're one of the highest taxpayers in almost every state we're in, us making sure that this is a long-term sustainable business, i.e., no one questions the legitimacy of the games, the outcomes of the games. We, more than anybody, have a vested interest in making sure that if you're going to make a bet on a particular game or a particular element of a game, that, you know, it's why you have these injury reports, right? It's why you have the advanced understanding of, you know, weather and all of the other things that would make people make decisions around betting. And look, I think that the leagues, NCAA, everyone, you know, there has been a massive 180-degree change in terms of, look, there's more work for them to do, but there's also a lot of financial upside as well.
Yeah, there was a time when Tony Romo couldn't host a fantasy football league event here because the NFL's like, oh, my God. So the Mavericks were sold to the Las Vegas Sands Corporation.
Yes.
Mark Cuban. And we know that Texas doesn't have legal gambling at this particular time. Is that one of the first parts of that opening up that opportunity? They had the lottery in Texas, and
they do, and they got a couple. They got two little tiny tribal casinos.
Yeah, and if Jerry Jones wants something, doesn't always get it like the World Cup final, but when he gets involved in something, it can
or the Dallas Cowboys to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's a whole nother thing. But is that the opening you see? That's a big state. We're in it. That's where we're from. I love it.
So look, you've got Texas state legislature meets every other year. You've got it's a challenging environment within the state legislature. Not everybody's supportive, but you do have people like Mark Cuban. You've got Jerry Jones, and now you've got Las Vegas Sands and Miriam Adelson, and I think that it's taking probably longer than some would hope, but with the number of professional franchises in the state of Texas, the sports-crazed individuals that are in Texas, we know that they want to bet on sports, and heck, more importantly, we know they do bet on sports.
Right.
But really, the only way they can bet on sports today is illegally. And so doesn't it make sense to legalize sports betting, and to the degree that, the legislature thinks it's important to, think through, different specific geographic locations for casinos and pair up that legislation, that's for the legislatures to decide. But I think that we're getting closer. It's just incremental.
Bill Miller's with us again, American Gaming Association at the Super Bowl, Radio Row here in Las Vegas.
So yeah, you said they do bet it anyway, illegal gambling. So what are the numbers that are going out for people who, again, can't do it legally? So they've got a guy. So
I think there are less guys. Because we've got more legal states.
Yeah.
But there are still a lot of people that have guys.
Yeah.
Or they have offshore online websites that are based out of Curacao or Malta or some other place. And the thing about them is, responsible gaming and responsible gambling is core to our long-term success. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that people that bet on sports understand they're not going to pay their rent or their mortgage, or should be commingled with their grocery bill, that this is fun in the same way they'd go to a concert or go out to dinner or buy something that's a non-essential thing. Online offshore sportsbooks don't care at all about that stuff, and they also don't care sometimes if you win. They don't care about paying you. Mm-hmm. And so, but we've been up against this for a long, long time. The online, the offshore, and the illegal market, the guy, and organized crime, these guys have had decades of head starts on us, right? Mm-hmm. We've moved from one state in America that had legal sports to 38 plus DC in 5 years. And so all of those people that run illegal sports books, whether they be offshore or on, they're not happy about it. But what we've seen is there was a study that was done before the Supreme Court ruled that states should have the right to have legal sports books, that suggested it was about the illegal market was about $150 billion. Our most recent study that we did in terms of analysis showed it about $64 billion. So we're eating into the illegal market. Consumers want to pay. I mean, they want to play in the legal marketplace, but a lot of times they don't even know the difference. If you can find it on the internet, most people think it's legal.
Right. So is there a study of how much money is infused in a state based on illegal gambling? Is it like, why would a state not want that money coming? Like, for example, I came from a city that was a dry county. They did not have alcohol. They did not beer, no wine. And you had to go 15 miles one way or the other in Tyler. Mm-hmm. Then they all of a sudden brought it in. Eventually, the churches or others that were not wanting it, they realized how much money was coming in. And now they're a massive amount of money. Why would that not be something that people would want in the first place?
I think it's a pretty compelling argument. And I think as we have seen more states legalize, the neighboring states look at it and say, I think it was Ed Rendell, who was the governor of Pennsylvania for a long time, and before that he was the mayor of Philadelphia. And when Pennsylvania didn't have casinos and they didn't have sports betting, he gave a press conference and they were saying, Governor, why are you supportive of putting in casinos here and sports books? He said, because I don't like seeing my constituents drive across the bridge to New Jersey to give them our Pennsylvania money.
Yep.
And so there is an element of FOMO, an element of, well, this should stay in our community tax bracket for important social services. And look, we, in almost all of the states that we operate, particularly on the casino side, we're the highest taxpayer, bar none. We don't have those situations that Amazon or Jeff Bezos say, all right, these 8 states compete against each other to see how much money you can give us so that we will come to your town. No, like a casino, we go to a town that got left behind by the auto industry or the steel industry or some other industry, and these people have had no economic activity for decades, and we reinvigorate those towns and cities. And so same thing happens with sports betting. And so we definitely believe that where there has been historical opposition, it's a combination of people have been betting on sports as long as there have been sports to bet on. Policymakers understand and recognize that. That's why we've seen it happen so quick, is they said, okay, my constituents bet on sports. Let's make it legal and safe for them and get some tax money.
Well, look, if you live in Texas, you can go, you know, especially you're Dallas, you can be at WinStar Casino, which the city should be called Barely, Oklahoma, because it's just across the line. And then, or you can go to Bossier City in Shreveport, which is, again, about 30 minutes across the line. So it's not like that far, and that money is going quickly out of Texas. And, again, you don't have to go very far.
Yeah, those parking lots are never empty.
No, and yeah, my friends, and we have a number of tribal nations that are members of the AGA, and they always talk about it as they're willing to pay for the the asphalt on the northbound side going up to Oklahoma, but look, we saw it in New York and New Jersey, right? New Jersey had legalized sports, and New York hadn't, and the technology is amazing today. So, Paul, if you were in New York and you had a DraftKings or sports betting app, you could open up your app in New York, but you couldn't make a bet. But the geolocation is so good that when you cross the Hudson River over into New Jersey, it would go live and you could actually make a bet. And so what you saw was, Hoboken, Jersey City, or all of these towns right on the other side of the river. It wasn't sports books because New Jersey had mobile. It was just guys going over on Saturdays and Sundays, and they're taking the PATH train over to New Jersey so they could have fun at a sports bar and legally bet on sports.
Bill Miller, American Gaming Association. It's the Super Bowl week. It is a massive week for them, and also for those who want to place a bet on so many different things. It's crazy, from not just the score, who wins, but many more. Thank you for your time, and good luck in the future.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me today.
365 Sports at Super Bowl 58 in Vegas continues on 365 Sports.